So the cabbage I chose is Napa Cabbage just because I like the texture much better than cannonball cabbage, or better known as green cabbage. Let's start off first with Napa Cabbage by cutting the bottom off. Then cut into thin slices. Cut until your cabbage looks like this. Now add 1 cup of Vegannaise. Then add half a cup of coconut milk or your preference of alternative milk. Then add 1 teaspoon of apple cider vinegar and another teaspoon of rice vinegar. Now add half of a cup of cane sugar and 1 teaspoon of pink Himalaya salt or your preference. Then add 1 teaspoon of ground black pepper. Stir, then squeeze in a half of a lime and continue to stir. Cut and dice up 1 yellow onion, enough for 1 cup. Then dice 2 to 3 sprigs of parsley, including the stems. Cut both ends of 1 carrot off and shave outer skin with a potato peeler and discard the skin. Then dice carrots into small pieces, just like this. Now, pour your wet mixture over the slaw and stir well until the slaw is saturated with the wet mixture. Just like this. You see how creamy it is? And then store it in a jar or container tightly sealed. This is a mason jar that I have. You can store it in that and let it sit overnight in the refrigerator.
Clean up your messes and your incompletes. If a cluttered desk is the sign of a cluttered mind, what is the significance of a clean desk? Lawrence J. Peter, American educator and author. The cycle of completion. Decide, plan, start, continue, finish, complete. It's called the cycle of completion. Each of these steps, decide, plan, start, continue, finish, and complete, is required to succeed at anything, to get a desired result, to finish. Yet how many of us never complete? We get all the way through the finishing stage, but leave one last thing undone. Are there areas in your life when you've left uncompleted projects or failed to get closure with people? When you don't complete the past, you can't be free to fully embrace the present. Failing to complete robs you of valuable attention units. When you start a project or make an agreement or identify a change you need to make, it goes into your present memory bank and takes up what I call an attention unit. We can only pay attention to so many things at one time, and each promise, agreement, or item on your to-do list leaves fewer attention units to dedicate to completing present tasks and bringing new opportunities in abundance into your life. So why don't people complete? Often, incompletes represent areas in our life where we are not clear, or where we have emotional and psychological blocks. For instance, you might have a lot of requests, projects, tasks, and other things on your desk you really want to say no to, but you're afraid of being perceived as the bad guy. So you put off responding in order while the sticky notes and stacks of paper pile up and distract you. There may also be circumstances in which you have to make decisions that are difficult or uncomfortable. So rather than struggle with the discomfort, you let the incompletes pile up. Some incompletions come from simply not having adequate systems, knowledge, or expertise for handling these tasks. Other incompletions pile up because of our bad work habits. Get into completion consciousness. Continually ask yourself, what does it take to actually get this task completed? Then you can begin to consciously take that next step of filing completed documents, mailing in the forms required, or reporting back to your boss that the project has been completed. The truth is that 20 things completed have more power than 50 things half completed. One finished book, for instance, that can go out and influence the world is better than 13 books you're in the process of writing. Rather than starting 15 projects that end up incomplete and take up space in the house, you'd be better off if you had started just 3 and completed them. The 4 Ds of completion. One way to take care of to-do items is something we've all seen in time management courses, the 4 Ds. Do it, delegate it, delay it, or dump it. When you pick up a piece of paper, decide then and there whether you'll ever do anything with it. If not, dump it. If you can take care of it within 10 minutes, do it immediately. If you still want to take care of it yourself but know it'll take longer, delay it by filing it in a folder of things to do later. If you can't do it yourself, or don't want to take the time, delegate it to someone you trust to accomplish the task. Be sure to have the person report back when he or she finishes the task so that you know it is complete. Making space for something new. In addition to professional incompletes, most households are also groaning under the weight of too much clutter, too many papers, worn-out clothes, unused toys, forgotten personal effects, and obsolete, broken, and unneeded items. In the United States, the entire mini-storage industry has sprung up to help homeowners and small businesses store what they no longer can fit into their homes and offices. But do we really need all this stuff? Of course not. One of the ways to free up attention units is to free your living and work environments from the mental burden of all this clutter. When you clear out the old, you also make room for something new. Take a look at your clothes closet, for instance. If you've got one of those where you can't put another thing into it, where you struggle to pull out a dress or shirt, that may be one reason why you don't have more new clothes. There's nowhere to put them. If you haven't worn something in 6 months, and it's not a seasonal or a special occasion item such as an evening gown or tuxedo, get rid of it. If there's anything new that you want in your life, gotta make room for it. I mean that psychologically as well as physically. If you want a new man in your life, you've got to let go of, forgive and forget, the last one you stopped dating 5 years ago. Because if you don't, when a new man meets you, the unspoken message he picks up is, "This woman's attached to somebody else. She hasn't let go." A woman in one of my seminars admitted that for years she kept piles of books and magazines on her bed, a collection that eventually covered over half the available sleeping space. When she also mentioned that she had suffered terrible relationship, it was instantly obvious to me that covering half her bed with piles of reading material was her unconscious way of making sure there was no space for a man who might be romantically interested in her. Not only had she failed to complete the past, the part of her that was afraid of being hurt again was making darn sure a similar unwanted future didn't show up either. After helping her see the connection between this self-imposed barrier and the lack of romance in her life, she used EFT tapping to release her fear of being hurt. See page 304. Cleared the clutter off her bed and made her bedroom inviting and welcoming again. Within months, she met a wonderful man who has become the love of her life. My good friend Martin Root once told me that whenever he wants to bring in new business, he thoroughly cleans his office, home, car, and garage. Every time he does, he starts getting calls and letters from people who want to work with him. Others find that doing spring cleaning helps them gain new clarity on problems, challenges, opportunities, and relationships. When we don't throw away clutter and items we no longer need, it's as if we don't trust our ability to manifest the necessary abundance in our lives to buy new ones when we need them. But incompletes like this keep that very abundance from showing up. We need to complete the past so that our present has the space to show up more fully. 25 ways to complete before moving forward. How many things do you need to complete, dump, or delegate before you can move on and bring new activity, abundance, relationships, and excitement into your life? Use this checklist to jog your thinking. Make a list, and then write down how you'll complete each task. Choose 4 items and start completing them. Choose those that would immediately free up the most time, energy, or space for you, whether it's mental space or physical space. At minimum, I encourage you to clean up one major incomplete every 3 months. If you want to really get the ball rolling, schedule a completion weekend and devote 2 full days to handling as many things on the following list as possible. 1. Former business activities that need completion. 2. Promises not kept, not acknowledged, or not renegotiated. 3. Unpaid debts or financial commitments, money owed to others or to you. 4. Closets overflowing with clothing never worn. 5. A disorganized garage crowded with old discards. 6. Haphazard or disorganized tax records. 7. Checkbook not balanced or accounts that should be closed. 8. Junk drawers full of unusable items. 9. Missing or broken tools. 10. An attic filled with unused items.